Hey everybody, welcome to the shop. So I've got an interesting project today. Let's check it out. So a friend of mine asked me about welding up some targets, and I didn't really think much of it. He told me these are AR500 plate steel, and that he normally uses 22s and 9mm on this, and somebody hit it with something else. Of course, I told him I didn't know if that would be AR500 or not. I have no way of knowing. But I didn't think, that was supposed to happen with those. Then he told me these were only on a 25-yard target. So I looked up some information on these, and if they are AR500, like I said, I don't know how to test that or anything, but they're supposed to be at 100 yards if you're going to use anything big on them. And he said his range is 25 yards. And so that's what happened with something big. It didn't make it through that one. Look at that. There's something popping out. Let's see what's in there. There we go. Look at that. There's the culprit. Pretty sure that's lead. Yeah, it's not magnetic. It's not very big, but it sure did a number on that plate. Yeah, that was super heavy too. Had to be a piece of lead. So it's going to be difficult to clean that edge up. Look at that, a lot of it blossomed outwards. And then of course you got the big bulge on the back. This one looks like got hit on the edge. So it did go through, like I said, half the plate probably. But I think I can weld these up. What I don't know, and hopefully you guys can put in the comments, should I, right? He said the reason he wanted these done, because I was like, well, it's got a bigger hole here already than there. But he said, I guess when you're shooting these, he shoots them with 22s and 9s. And he said, if you hit this irregular shape can cause it to ricochet back towards you. And so he wanted this just made smooth if possible. So, I mean, I think I can do that. I'm not charging for this job. And I told him if anything bad happened, that I didn't know nothing about it. So, we'll see how this goes. I think for this, I'll just go ahead and use my Titanium 125 Flux machine and see about MIG welding it up. It's got 71 series wire, so basically the same strength as a 7018. And I did read, and they said that using flux core would help get through some of the dirt and stuff in that, or any rust or anything that was on that. And then also being a low amperage, because it's only a 110 machine, it won't put so much heat into this plate that hopefully it won't make a large area that loses its temper. So let's check it out. If you're messing with these, wear gloves. And that little edge is sharp as heck, and I just barely touched it and cut the snot out of the tip of my finger. So also with all the contaminants and stuff, there's probably lead residue and who knows what else maybe on this stuff. So gloves are a good idea anyway. All right, let's go ahead and grind this up. See if we can clean it up. Okay, and on this, AR in this case is abrasion resistance, not any other thing that maybe somebody thinks it is. So check this out, it's kind of interesting to me. So I ground off all that steel that was blossoming out of that, but look at that hole. That hole inside that plate is actually larger than what the hole in the outside of it was. And then it didn't go all the way through. It's got this big dent on the back of it. But what I think I'm going to do is, instead of grinding this off and making an actual hole, I'm just going to fill this up with weld, and then once I've got it filled and ground off, I'll come over here and grind this one flat too. That way, whichever way they hang the plate, it'll be a smooth surface and you won't have to worry about those ricochets he was telling me about. This one on the edge, I don't know. I mean, I think I'd just leave that if it was me, but he asked me to weld it up, and I'll see if I can do anything with it. I did get it ground down. I have to clean out that rust that's down inside there a little bit, but I think I can probably build this edge up just a little bit and make that closer to round again. At least get rid of the, I'll go ahead and grind off that sharp edge right there. Just so you can pick the thing up and move it around without cutting yourself. All right, no rust visible on that one. So I should be able to weld that up, I think, with my flux core wire. And that one, I should be able to fill that hole with the same wire. There was no way to get in there that I know of to clean any of that, so hopefully we'll get good adhesion. And that's one of the reasons I'm using my flux core machine. I read that they said that the flux core will get inside past mill scale and rust and just grime better than solid core wire. So let's try it out. I've got my Hobart machine right here too, set up and ready to go, so I could use it. Let's just go ahead and try out our Harbor Freight Titanium Flux 125. I have no idea if this will work or not, so definitely put in the comments below what you think. And give us a thumbs up if you like this. Okay, that did pretty well, and I had my settings, I had it turned pretty far up. I had the voltage on I and the wire feed speed on 7. There's some heat coming off that, but I mean, I don't think I got that plate red hot or anything where the temper would be affected much. Okay, and now I have weld sticking up, proud of that plate. So I'm just gonna take the grinding wheel and grind it off. This is kind of neat. Because that bulges out the back, I can stick it in these holes and the plate doesn't slide around. All right, let's grind this down flat. All right, and probably because of the flux and filling it up, I found a hole. But what I'm gonna do is just hit it again. So you can see that little divot there. And that's probably inclusion from that flux on the multiple passes. I did probably, I don't know, at least 3 or 4 good hits in there with that flux core wire. And there was no way to get the flux cleaned off down inside that hole. So I think what I'll do now, I think I'll put my grinder on edge and just kind of eat into that a little bit and then hit it again with the flux wire. All right, that'll give me a little bit of a trough to get in, so let's try that out. Okay, I've got just the smallest little crack there. You might not even be able to see it, but I can. There you go. So I'm going to get that cleared up, and this will be done. I'll tell you what, that's really good. There's some shadows there, but there's no divots anymore. So now let's flip it over and we'll grind off that, which is the bulge in the AR500. I don't know how thick it is, so we'll see about that. Now this plate slides around because the bulge was holding it in place there, but I'm gonna get something to lock that down. All right, let's get it grounded. All right, look at that. You can see the profile of the hole there, if you can. I can see it. See the little ghost outline of that hole? And it's much smaller on this side than it was on the other side. But I think what I'll do is go ahead and maybe just buff that down just a little bit further and then throw a drop of weld on it. And we're gonna call this one done. It's a little warm, but it ain't bad. All right, I think this one's done. So that's pretty smooth. That's pretty smooth. A little bit of heat came through when I ground it. So, like I said, that weld's hot. But the rest of this plate, it doesn't feel that warm. I got gloves on, let's see. Oh yeah, I can hold that. I can hold it where there's not weld anyway by my bare hand. So I don't think I heated it enough to lose the temper of that. Plate's nasty, I won't wear gloves anyway. Okay, and I kind of almost forgot about this one. Like I said, I don't know. I'm gonna weld that up, but I'm not gonna spend as much time trying to make it perfect. Perfect enough. All right, so let's try and weld that up. Okay, so let me show you what I've got here. I said I wasn't gonna spend as much time trying to make it perfect, and the fact of the matter is I'm kind of a perfectionist when I'm coming to my hobby of welding. So I set it up with these magnets, and then I've got it braced against this other plate so it can't rock forward or back. And then I've got this hole that I'm trying to fix is at the very top. So I should be able to weld that pretty easy. Now you want to watch using magnets, especially with arc welding. They say it can pull the weld towards the magnet and mess up your weld. But with these magnets way down here, using this little Flux 125, I think it'll work all right. So, and if not, that's why I've got a grinder. Good enough. Okay, if you remember what that one looked like, it had a big bite out of the side of it. And that is gone. I mean, if this weren't a steel target, that would be a pretty good repair with that little Flux 125. I like that welder. And again, this one warmed it up, but I've got my gloves on, but it's not too hot to touch barehanded. Now I wouldn't touch it right on the thing there. The other thing is this has all kinds of little sharp divots and stuff on it that were not from welding. That's the way I was given the thing. All right, so let's go out and see if these will hold up to a couple impacts. Might have a hammer laying around. All right, well, what'd you think? So this got shot at 20 times with 22 caliber, and then it got shot at 9 times by 9mm. No, 10 times. I don't know how many times it got hit. Like I said, I let my neighbor do the shooting, and that was at 25 yards. And my friend assured me that this plate was going to be shot at from 25 yards and that he wasn't going to let anybody shoot anything higher than a 9mm at it. And I'll tell you what, I think it did pretty good. So let me know in the comments for sure what you think about this job. Should anybody, a hobbyist welder, try to even weld these plates up? Is it too dangerous? Is there too many liabilities? Like I said, once this plate leaves my house, I don't know nothing about it. So anyway, I'll tell you what, the little Titanium Flux 125, it did a heck of a job. I really like this welder. The more I use it, the better I like it. And I've got other welders, but I figured I'd just go ahead and try this little project with this. I didn't want to get a bunch of time into it because it also is a non-paying job. But anyway, if you got anything out of this, give us a thumbs up. It absolutely helps the channel. And we invite you to subscribe to see more. Have a great day and be safe.